Thanks for tuning in to Season 4 of Strange, Rare, and Peculiar Homeopathy Podcast, where homeopathy lives, breathes, and evolves with Denise Strages and Alastair Gray. We'll be exploring modern practice, research, and philosophy, from Hahnemann's radical insights to today's breakthroughs and discoveries. Get ready for homeopathy woes, feedback from pros, and the more you knows.
Good afternoon, and good morning, and good evening, wherever you are.
Yeah, welcome to our living room. We're doing our podcast from our living room today, which, cheers. It's both kind of nice and it's also discombobulating because, I like to bring the goods. So I've got a computer on my lap, I've got my notebook, I have my organized.
It's chaos.
And then
At some point you're going to spill your tea on something.
yeah, on
Probably the
myself.
dog. And we just finished having some harsh words about what are we going to talk about?
What? Wait, we had harsh words about it?
Is
Define
that-
define harsh words.
Define harsh words is what you said to me 2 days ago.
Oh, you totally deserved it.
You tell it.
So we were walking the dog and Al had a meeting and there was something in the meeting that I don't know, you just didn't want to tell me, or I asked
A little bit frustrated.
you were feeling frustrated at the end of the day, and I asked a clarifying question about something, and you gave me some kind of answer. And for the first time in all the years that we have worked together, I said, I'm your boss. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I was so, yeah. And then we laughed so hard because it was just ridiculous. What a way to,
It's funny though, you didn't quite say it like that. I'm your boss.
I got my Philly on.
And it's true because you in the evolution of our organization, you assumed all the risk, and you did employ me as a, what do you call that? As a 1099? Was I a 1099?
Well,
I don't even know what that means.
a 1099 is if you're not an employee, you're a
Oh,
You're a
no.
self-employed
In that case,
contractor.
forget 1099. It's another number.
It was an E3.
Anyway,
Your E3 visa.
yeah, and so because I worked for you, I was able to get my E3.
But that's a story for another day. Although, because we're recording this on the 13th of February, it's the day before Valentine's
Is it
Day.
really the 13th?
Yeah, look.
Look at
February
that.
13th.
So, our conversation's got to be about love.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, and autoimmunity. Because we do
Hence
have a topic, but
hence the other words.
I mean, not that I'm not a romantic, of
Oh.
course, but I want to read some. I've got well, actually, here I have my phone to look at some of the posts that were done on the AHE Instagram page. Like, follow, subscribe, all those things. Anyway, so Sherry put out a homeopathy Valentine's Day Instagram post that I just love so much. So the first one is, I love you more than my homeopathy kit when someone gets sick at 2 a.m. She doesn't want flowers. She wants a vintage remedy kit from the 1800s. Isn't that so good? You're the strange, rare, and peculiar I've been waiting for. Oh my gosh. It's such insider baseball. It's so good. Roses are red, violets are blue. Homeopathy is amazing, and so are you.
An oldie but a goodie.
So cute. You make me happier than a really good SRP. Oh my gosh. So good. So good. Anyway.
The visuals are also amazing.
I know. It's really like, there's this one with, well, if you're looking at it on video, you can see there's like a typewriter image. It's just really good. Anyway, check out our social media that Sherry McAnally does. It's really, she's the best. But I enjoyed that. Yeah. And I had to put in my comment that I love homeopathy so much that I married a homeopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
cheers to you, buddy.
cheers to you.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I sometimes look at other. Well, I was going to say two things, and then I caught myself editing myself. So let me just say what I was going to
Which
say.
is probably a good thing.
Which is sometimes a good thing. But what I was going to say was there are many cool homeopathic or homeopathy couples.
It's true, there are.
There are some amazing ones, and And then I sometimes wonder what would it be like to not be partnered up with a homeopath,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's real because it's all consuming, isn't it?
No one would put up with us. Let's just put it
I
that
mean,
way.
imagine the
So-
conversations that we couldn't have.
and all the shorthand you have, because you can use homeopathy terms in certain situations that are
Poop.
shorthand as well, poop, of course, but no, you could just like the word syphilis takes on so many meanings, right? When you're around other homeopaths.
Well, I prefer pox myself.
Pox, yeah,
Pox.
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 Yeah. So anyway, just spreading a little homeopathy love over here on the
Yeah, so
podcast.
from the beginning, from the get-go, homeopathy's been dominated by love. When you think about it, Hahnemann and Mrs. Hahnemann, I wouldn't say
You're
there's
talking about Johanna.
I'm talking about Mrs. Hahnemann.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
Melanie would have become Mrs. Hahnemann.
nah, but she was French. So I'm talking about Henrietta, Johanna,
Yep, Henrietta.
Leopoldina. And she seems, by all accounts, to have been somewhat of a severe, have a severe character. And there's a few little insights from Hahnemann's letters, and there's one, and I think it's in Francis Troy Hertz's book on
I love that.
Genius of Homeopathy.
Yeah.
And in it, there's this little snippet, and I think it's a letter to Berninghausen or something, and it was obviously dashed off quickly. I must go. I've just been given that look by Mrs. Hahnemann. That look, and it's like, oh, that. And Hahnemann, imagine him going, I got to go to dinner. I've really messed up. It's
The
like
mutton's getting cold.
I've blown up the basement again,
Oh.
doing my chemical experiments. And Mrs. Hahnemann's given me that look. I think menfolk all around the world might understand what that might have been like. She must have had a severe piercing gaze.
There's that tone. You know that tone.
That tone.
Uh-huh.
I do know that tone.
If I have that tone. But you make me laugh. So like in 30 seconds, it's gone.
Yeah.
Which is really helpful. If you're looking for your person, find the one that can make you laugh and make all of the stuff disappear.
Isn't that lovely? I want to congratulate you on refinding your spectacles as well.
Yeah, if you're watching this, you might now recognize me. I had an issue. I've had these glasses for a long time, and I've just had the lenses replaced. They're actually made from old record albums, which had I known that, I think I wouldn't have bought them. It would have felt gimmicky. I only learned that after I purchased them years ago. Anyway,
hits.
I was getting my lenses replaced, and they lost them for 3 months. 3 months. That was kind of a lot. Anyway, we have a lot of things to talk about today.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to talk about. So actually, the theme of love maybe will kind of go through the autoimmunity talk, and sort of the. Wait, why are you looking like that?
How can you weave a thread of love through autoimmunity?
Are you ready? I'll start with a case.
Sure, go.
Okay. So I don't actually have the whole case in front of me. Some of you might have seen this case. I've presented it at a few conferences. It's a lovely Indian woman who has had an incredibly severe case of rheumatoid arthritis to the point where she couldn't bend her fingers, and her legs were starting to actually bend backward at the knee. So when I first took her case some years ago, she was mostly bedridden. And she had a 2-year-old baby, and where she lives in India, the internet would sometimes be really dodgy because the monsoons and whatnot. She really struggled, and there was really severe weather, which affected her case and everything. Anyway, dodgy. So this woman came to me because her husband, who loved her so much, decided that he would take a course that we did that was put out, into the ethers through one of those services that sell lectures. And this guy who had no training in homeopathy.
He did an AI course.
He did our autoimmunity course.
Wow.
And then he started prescribing for his very sick wife. And he was, when I tell you, like the nicest guy, and loved his wife in ways that you just can't even describe. So like enough that he went and he took this course, but like he had another job. He was like an engineer or something, like not a homeopath, but it sort of speaks to this way in which, the kind of accessibility, or the what's the word I'm looking for? The democratization of information, right? Like you can do a course at a major university, uh, basically for free. You can audit a course. Oh, what was that course I was auditing at Yale with this incredible biblical scholar doing I just decided over the holidays when I had a little time that I would podcast this theology course. It's a critical study of the Old Testament, and it's really a beautiful academic thing. Remember, you were like, "What are you studying?" And so I could just get this class from Yale for free.
I was more interested in the technology, because what you're talking about is a MOOC,
Mm-hmm.
and a MOOC, a massive open online course,
Right.
a massive online open course,
Yeah.
threatened to demolish the higher education sector globally when they first emerged.
Mm.
And there was much hand-wringing and drama in every institution, from Harvard to the University of Technology, Sydney,
Yeah.
to the MITs and the whatevers, that these courses would make traditional 101, 102,
Right.
201, 202, 301, 302 irrelevant. Of
But it
course,
didn't.
of course, things have continued on their journey.
Well, because I think part of it is like, okay, so I learned stuff, but I was just basically podcasting this. It's interesting to me. I think, understanding of a text as important as the Bible is like, I don't know, like humans should understand this, the Quran, like we should have these, I don't know. I just think there's a reason why these books have lasted throughout millennia. So, but I'm not giving somebody, advice based on a very passive learning experience. That was just like for my own edification. And I think about this too, because like when I was in graduate school, the the format of the class was like you would watch these, there were videos to watch, and then there were lectures every week, and there were piles of reading material, easily 500 pages most weeks, and articles to critically think through and everything. And I think, okay, I could have done a lot of that on my own, but it was the expert that
It's the curation of it, isn't it?
it's the cure that, in fact, when we would do our feedback sessions, like we'd give feedback at the end of every course, the word I used every time, I told you this, was it was so incredibly beautifully curated by experts. And so I guess it kind of brings me to this intersection of like the love of homeopathy and the sort of the profession, the education, the commitment that it takes, that you could do a MOOC, you can take a course, you can do whatever, but there is something about the quality of the education. One of the things that we're working on, this is totally an aside, then I want to get back to the autoimmunity thing, but we're starting to do our recruitment events for next year, because we enroll a 2-year, the beginning of a 2-year course and a 4-year course every September, and we take our cohorts are small. I don't think we've ever had more than 40 people, and that's intentional, because we want to make sure that we can deliver quality education to everybody who's coming. Anyway, there were questions that have been coming up. It's like, oh, I saw that if you go to this program, you get these credentials, or I saw a practitioner who has this credential after name. What do they mean? And it's kind of shocking, because there's one of the things that I didn't understand happen is that there are people who they start a program and then they credential the person, like, take my course and then I give you this credential. but who's looking at the course? Do you know what I mean?
It's a nonsense from a conventional educational perspective. But I suppose in those corners of the world, the unregulated world where there is no overseeing body, validating body, accreditation body,
Right.
then it's pretty common to make up your own initials.
Is that right? Is that a common thing?
I
Do you remember I told
I
you
think it is, but I mean, it
it
it's
doesn't mean
meaningless.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, I told you that story that I used to teach sort of case taking to providers, not homeopaths, right? So to use some of the, like homeopaths are really good at extracting information. And so I taught in a couple of schools of other modalities like herbalism and things like this. And I told you, remember I taught that course for years, and this woman was creating her own credential, and she basically wanted my IP as a part of this credential she was granting. And I felt weird about it. I just said, nah, probably not. It's like not for me.
Mm.
You do you. Anyway, but this all goes into this thing about sort of, we love homeopathy. And I just think a lot about, we all love it. So we need to do right by it. And autoimmunity sort of points us to that. Because like if autoimmunity is about the sort of self-destruction, right? It's like it's not life affirming. It's about the life force being taken out of something in a way. The sort of everybody is a homeopath. Nobody really needs to study. You can listen to podcasts that teach materia medica and then give medicine to people. Like I could listen to a bunch of podcasts about chemotherapy, but I probably shouldn't administer it, would be my guess.
That's a yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. So one of the things that came up, questions that people have asked, like, do homeopaths have homeopaths? Yes. Yeah. And I think, and somebody asked me this recently, and it was like, oh, because like you don't know yourself well enough, or like as if it's about uncovering deep dark secrets or whatever. It's not like that.
I don't think so.
I think it's more about just objectivity and record keeping and sort of being able to say, like scheduling a fun, like my kids have a homeopath, and it's not me, because the follow up is, I don't want to say, oh, at the dinner table, oh, let me, what symptom are you having, whatever. It's like there's something about the framework of the appointment and the intentionality of the visit, and there's like it's a thing and it's something over time, the record keeping and the
Yeah, the
analytical
case
process, right?
and who's good at their own case management? Oh, I'll take
You
that
want some
back.
more tea?
Sure.
Okay. There we go.
Just while you're pouring that, I've been watching Sir Isaac Newton,
That's our giant cat.
our giant cat, navigate his way across the tundra, the snowy tundra, but it's the snow's melting and the ice on the top layer is now thin enough that
It's falling through.
he's not just sailing across the top, he's falling through, which he is indignant about. And he keeps looking around to see if anyone's watching him.
Because it's funny, he's aware. He doesn't want to be laughed at. He sort of has a,
He's good with lycopodium.
yeah, he totally is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that reminds me. So talking about sort of autoimmunity and all the intersection of all of these things. It's a little weird, isn't it? There's a lot. Because we were going to talk about autoimmunity, an extension of last week.
Yeah.
And then we realized it was Valentine's Day, and then there was this other, yeah.
I want to talk about Melanie.
Do you want to start with that? Because I was going to talk about sort of case analysis and autoimmunity, based on a case that we had in clinic this week.
Yeah. And I want to hear what the intersection is between love and autoimmunity further.
Well, I think part of it is just that there's this, well, I don't know. I was going to make something up, to be honest. I have no idea. It's just it's the date. Honestly, the intersection between love and autoimmunity is the date.
All right, it's Valentine's Day. Now, for some folks around the world, that is an artificially constructed way to sell products and services.
Sure.
And there's a bunch of cynicism around it, mostly well placed. However, it is a date, right? And it has and it's got some, you know, like rituals. You know, they develop some substance, and so I think it is good to talk about this profession that we're a part of, and you know, with a focus on the 14th.
Go ahead. Take it away.
Well, I mentioned Hahnemann and
Melanie.
Henrietta.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that there was that much love involved in that. He was 28, she was 19. I'm sure that there would have been some sort of late 1700s spark between them. But it might have been, it sounds like it was more companionship.
I don't think you should read into that.
Really?
No, but I think there was definitely hardship. They had a really, you know, I mean, there was, you know, it was light on the cash, heavy on the challenges, you know, kids who died, the wagon tips over, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that. I mean, I think that was a lot of hardship. And
after Henrietta died, 2 of the daughters were murdered.
Murdered?
Yeah.
What?
Yes. Yes.
Murdered?
Yeah.
How do I not know this? See, this is the thing. It's all about the questions that you ask. I never asked who was murdered in the Hahnemann story. I knew there were children who died. Murdered? Discuss, please.
Don't know that I can. It's a reference to, it's on a slide that I use in one of my slide decks, where, and I've taken it verbatim out of it could be a family history, you know, Mr. and Mrs.
Hale?
It could be Mr. and Mrs. Hahnemann, next generation, starting with Friedrich, Ernst, who died, and then it was, you know, we're getting to about maybe the 8th or the 9th daughters, and she married somebody later found murdered in a
this is starting to ring a bell.
Actually, I was going to say a swamp, not a swamp, a pond, and then a similar another one as well.
You think there's anything?
I might have nefarious.
Yeah.
No.
And murder is nefarious at face value. What do you mean, no nefarious? Just saying.
This is Inquisitor. No, I don't think there's anything conspiratorial around it. I've not ever heard anything further about it. Anyway, that's far from what the direction I wanted to go, which was, of course, then he unexpectedly marries again, and this time falls head over teacups for Melanie.
Cougar. The cougar.
Meaning 35 years. That's a somewhat significant difference.
I'm going to say yes. Hahnemann in his cougar years. He was 70.
It's actually 45 years. Because she was born in 1800.
Exactly.
He was born in 1755.
Oh my gosh, it's 45 years.
45 years difference, folks.
45 years difference.
Yeah. That's impressive. What is that? That's
kind of a lot for me.
It's inspirational.
It's something you can aspire to in your dotage. You can't get to that difference until late. Anyway.
But this was, you know, the letters that have survived between them, the comments of the people that spent time with them, they were all over each other like a rash, and
I mean, yeah.
And it was hot and heavy.
I mean, you're reading a lot into it. I don't know that hot and heavy.
You should say that because you got the accent.
What accent?
Jersey.
My actual accent. This podcast is sort of going all over the shop.
It's not. It's all hovered around the
love.
So I just think there's plenty of precedent, and if it's not with Samuel and Melanie that you know walked around the Luxembourg Palace in Paris, then it is heading to Philadelphia because the love story between Constantine Herring's daughter
Yeah.
and Calvin Neur
Uh-huh.
was the talk of the day. And I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of him. Have you seen a picture of Calvin Neur?
I haven't. I don't think.
He looks like he was an escapee from a Louisiana prison.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful where you go.
Who then? No, but I'm thinking, all the classic movies of folks that
Okay.
have escaped, spent a lot of time in the swamp,
Mm-hmm.
Wrestled with a bunch of alligators, and came through. Got knocked on the head a few times, and he looks every inch a criminal.
Does he really?
Yeah.
We've been to his gravesite. So
He's all what's it? Asymmetrical, which is not good in a son-in-law, don't you think?
Speaks to the syphilis. Here we go again. But he's the one who wrote the biography of Herring.
Which isn't really a biography.
No, it's stories. It's actually quite good. If you haven't read it, it's sort of the story. I think it's called The Life of Herring, and yeah, it's good.
So he married Herring's daughter.
Yeah.
And they are buried in Laurel Hill
Cemetery. Yeah, right by us. In fact, we're starting to make plans for graduation weekend. This is class 31 and 32 graduating.
Yep.
And so we have like a blowout weekend. It's always so much fun. And so we're going to go to the archives, and my friend Margaret, who is the head of the archives over at Drexel University, she's checking to see if we can get to see the Lachesis snake, herring snake, which is it used to be called the Museum of Natural History here. I think it has a different name now. But and then maybe a trip to the Mutter Museum. But then we're also thinking about doing maybe a walk through the Laurel Hill Cemetery. It's really, really beautiful. And Herring and Neur, and they're all buried.
Oh, that was the reference to the cemetery, because Kneur has a tomb, and in fact Neur's family, extended family, and the Herring's family extended dominate one corner of the cemetery. It's really amazing.
It's really beautiful. It's under this gorgeous tree and everything. And then here's another homeopathy marriage. So you got Sophie's daughter married,
adopted
daughter, right? Married Benninghausen, son of Bönninghausen. Yep. What was his first name?
Al starts with Al, maybe.
Leopold? No, that was one of Hahnemann's kids. Boy, we should have prepped more. I didn't know we were going to talk about this. Anyway, but yeah, so there's like a whole thing about the 6th edition of the Organon, where it was in their possession.
In the attic.
And then
I think it went, and then their kids, by the time it got to 1920, I think went through another generation. So to my mind, it goes from Melanie's hand to Sophie's.
Yeah.
To the attic, and then there's another generation comes along.
And then the Americans got a hold of it. Why do you find that so funny?
Well, why do you say that? Because it got published in German first.
Yeah, it did. But there was like all this, exchange of, letters and money and everything. If you like this sort of thing with more preparation, my gosh, we reposted the Melanie episode a couple of weeks ago. It was from our first season, the Vindication of Melanie, and I love the whole story of their beautiful relationship. No one is going to want to listen to this, you realize?
Why?
Because
I think it's
yeah.
Well, I think I'm totally fascinated. Other homeopathic couples.
Julian and Gwyneth.
Julian Winston and Gwyneth Evans. Totally right. Well, that's a nice segue to us because they did it reverse.
Yeah.
He lived in Philadelphia. She lived in New Zealand. You were from Philadelphia, lived in New York. I was in Brisbane from New Zealand.
Yep.
And
But the library,
uh,
Julian's library, made its way over to New Zealand and then back to America.
mhm.
And we have some of it here. Yeah. We've got Jeremy and Camilla, Cher.
The Reichenbergelmans,
Oh my gosh. Yep.
Paul Hirsky, Amy Rothenberg,
Yep.
Franz Vermeulen,
And Linda Johnson.
and Linda Johnson.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure there are plenty more people that we just don't know. But that's fun. Why are you cracking up?
It is fun, actually. And I think, just speaking personally, I just think it's amazing to be involved in this profession with someone who finds it as three-dimensional and is, horrific and amazing, you know what I mean, as it is. And it's amazing to do the journey with someone as committed.
No one else would put up with me is probably true.
Look at the cat.
Anyway, autoimmunity.
Yeah.
So in the last episode of the podcast, we were talking about autoimmunity, and I actually listened to it today while I was doing my yoga practice, which I wonder if that's good for me to be otherwise engaged. But I was thinking about kind of the, because we talked about last time what it takes to deal with an autoimmune case, and that there are these dimensions sort of understanding. And we talked about aphorism 171, which is the recognition that you prescribe a remedy, and then when that remedy completes its action, the next remedy is given, and so on and so forth, towards the eradication or the capital C cure of that disease. And so we had this really robust conversation in teaching clinic this week that I wanted to point out. And I actually wanted to just kind of put, like, sort of contextualize, because we had a little moment earlier where we were talking about sort of the differences in, what it takes to learn homeopathy and the different credentials and yada, yada. And I think, like, I have total respect and understanding for sort of what happened in the kind of the doldrums of homeopathy education, like after we lost our institutional credibility at the turn of the 20th century. Flexner comes along, evaluates all medical schools, homeopathy or allopathy, looks at it, and only the schools that met the criteria were able to continue. By that time, homeopathy had been diluted without succussion. People were practicing it however they want, and consequently, the allopathic model took gained market share, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And homeopathy goes kind of quiet, and there was, thankfully, the sort of domestic physicians and the, folks sort of maintaining their their knowledge base from these physicians that were still, the well-trained physicians who were still around, who then were transmitting that knowledge over time. And so it kept it at a level of sort of basic utilization, right? And so I don't want to discount that, because I think, you have to look at everything in sort of the context of the time it's in. And so there were very few schools. And when schools started again, right? So in America, Vitulcus comes to America, he comes to California, and, only trained doctors. And then
Esalen in 1979, right?
yeah. And then it kind of goes on from there. And then the education sort of goes broad. And then, but it's like sitting there and sort of, remember at the time, you had to go somewhere to study homeopathy school. This was, we studied pre-internet. You know, there's no Amazon for buying books. Like you had to go find them in places, right? So now it's changed, right? It's totally changed. And there was a limit on how much clinical training you could do when homeopathy school existed as weekend intensives over the course of 4 years, right? Most of the schools were just 2 days for 4 years. I went to a school that did 4 days over, it was like 4.5 years the year I did it. I think there was only 1, maybe 2 years that had that sort of robust part of the program. And it has since kind of contracted a little bit. Anyway, I say that because what has had to happen, what is happening is that you've got the pros and the cons of online education, which one of the pros is that you can get people from all over coming to school, which is great. And you can have a lot of clinical training. You can have, I think we are now getting to the point where I feel like the clinical training we're offering is really good. I was going to say adequate. I think it's beyond adequate. But like what we could offer in the years when it was just live was like, it felt like it was never enough. It was really difficult. Right. And so
It's fraught with difficulties because you're never quite sure, are you pitching all of the energy towards the health outcomes of the client or the educational outcomes of the students?
exactly.
And you know, the school's right in the middle of this sort of on the horns of a dilemma, on the croissant.
Wait, can you do that's this
What's this?
Sal's imitation of a croissant. I love that. I never gets old. For those of you who aren't watching on video, sorry, I can't, I don't know how to explain.
On the horns of a dilemma.
Yeah.
And the dilemma is being I don't think I've seen any clinical model anywhere, Canada, Australia, the UK, America, where a school has nailed it until I think we cracked it. We cracked it with GoToMeeting. I remember that
Oh my
night.
God. Oh my God.
And your vision.
Well, so yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, thanks for saying that. And I don't want to, I don't want to put this out there as a like tooting the horn or a sales pitch or anything. Rather, I think as a community, like once we all recognize and sort of acknowledge what it takes, then we've got to deliver on that. You can't skimp and minimize on the experiential part of doing homeopathy. And so like our students, the amount of clinical training that is required in our program, and it's not just like there are people out there now who are, I mean, I just heard from somebody, I interviewed a student who said she was thinking about going to a school. She saw a person who took her case for money in their first semester of training and gave a remedy. And I was like, wait, what? That would be like, you know, doing cataract surgery in your first semester of ophthalmology school without anybody watching you. Like, oh, come on in after hours. I can, you know, put your eye in that machine, right? Like, it just seemed crazy to me. Anyway, so we've been talking a lot about this because we're coming up for our ACHINA reaccreditation, ACHINA being the accrediting body in homeopathy schools in North America. And every 5 years you come up for reaccreditation. And it's like a great way to sort of reflect on what you're doing. You've got to demonstrate what you're doing and everything. And so I was thinking about this just because my role is clinic director and just, you know, how many years it took for us to get a clinical training program where we could kind of get all the pieces in order of acute training and chronic training and all of the supervision and oversight so that, you know, like any person who is seeing someone associated with our institution knows that not only are they evaluated academically, but like no one is having any kind of client interaction until such time as they are ready to do so. And someone is constantly watching after them. Is it perfect? No, nothing is perfect because I'm sure somebody, you know, will get a howler of, you know, somebody who didn't like something or other whatevs. But like it is, you know, it's about what it takes to really get someone trained up. So I wanted to just talk about this because we've had a couple of clinics recently where we've got kids with autoimmune conditions coming in, right? Like
Mhm.
little people under 10 years old who are presenting with really complex and serious challenges. And so, you know, some of the rigor that our students go through, right? So like we've got there are two teachers. When you're a new student, you're like, you know, you're going through, you sort of have to learn like, what the hell, you know? And the biggest thing in your first semester is what needs to be cured. In other words, how do you even look at a case to understand what's going on? And there was, so I wanted to talk though about sort of what, like, sort of solving an autoimmunity case is not like match it, you know, match the symptoms, right? It's not just, it's not like a cold or a bee sting. There's like, there are all these layers about it. And so there was this one case where we had this really robust discussion about number one, the students had one of the jobs that they had to do was to remove all of the medically identified language. In other words, cases now present with terms like I have dysbiosis, I have
Leaky gut.
leaky gut, mast cell activation,
Yeah.
parasites. Who doesn't have worms now? But all of this. And so you kind of take it away and say, okay, let's go back to what Hahnemann says. All that we're looking at is the externalization of the signs and symptoms of the disease. And how do we do that? And then once we see that, right? Because if you just go through the organon, go through the first 10 aphorisms, right? There's, you know, between 6 and 7 and 8, you're sort of getting into the totality of symptoms being the only thing you're looking at, right? It's the expression of the disease. But then the question is, and somebody asked this question really cleanly, okay, looking at this case that we had, where do you go back to? How far do you go back? Where is the line in the sand? Is it the whole life? Is it before birth? Is it the last 6 months? Is it just right now? I mean, and then there will be, and this is the thing that I think ties it all together, which is that it's not about the first remedy. It's about long-term case management and evaluation, and long-term being potentially years, right? And so this,
But you're still being driven by symptoms, right?
100%. But the thing is that you've got the symptoms, it's like dimensional. Sometimes you're looking at something like it comes to a point, you know, you have those cases. I love when I teach the noble gases, talking about how many times you might have an intercurrent, you might have an intercurrent moment where the only thing you could do is to give, you know, helium, for example. And it's like a moment in time where like something happens, but you like, and then the totality might open up again. It's like it's like a living, breathing thing. And the job of the homeopath is to sort of ride this wave and to know when to act, when not to act. You know, I say a lot of times to the students, doing nothing is doing something, right? The client doesn't get a remedy as a prize for turning up to an appointment and giving you money.
I thought it was a Catholic confessional. I confess here. Have a little tablet.
You guys, every day, all day, this, I get to live with this man. You make me laugh. So there is this way in which the whole, I don't know, that it's this whole thing that we do. And autoimmunity is like, I mean, it's like we talked about last time, it is, you know, it's chronic diseases. It's this understanding of when you are looking at something through the lens of its miasmatic presentation and when not to do something. And so this was another thing that came up in the conversation the other day, because they're like, not all remedies are the same. You get a kick out of this.
Well, no, it's just I was gonna a witty intervention, then I thought I'd better not.
No, please do.
Kenny Rogers.
Oh, go ahead. Know when to hold up. Know when to fold up.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
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 And it's true.
Yeah. So not every remedy is the same.
And you only learn that through experience and experiment.
But you don't want to experiment on people.
Well, no, you do to an extent, but I mean, we're talking really responsibly, not irresponsible experimenting on clients, but experience, and
So,
is what Hahnemann said is how you
well, totally. I mean,
achieve mastery.
look, this is what Herring said in the introduction to the third American edition of the Organon. And this is where he says about, I'm more Hahnemannian than Hahnemann himself, except, I will only do things that I've experimented on and seen to be, true in my own light. And he missed a part of the plot, but
Yeah.
that's a story for another day. But the thing that I wanted to say though is when Hahnemann comes out with chronic diseases, right? And we talked about this the last episode. He shifted the way that he looked at remedies, right? So in the beginning, remember Hahnemann, it clicks for him. The idea of similars was when he's translating Cullen's Materia Medica. And at that time of his initial experimentation, he's using that as his guide to test similarity. Does the remedy that has this in its toxicological profile also, work in the inverse when given to a sick person? And so he's doing provings to sort that first thing out. Well, he's using plant medicine. By the time he gets to 1816 and he starts rethinking it, he's shifting from mostly plants to mostly minerals. There are definitely plant remedies included in chronic diseases, although many of them were used medicinally in the treatment of venereal diseases. So like guacum, for example, for syphilis, right? So you've got this, this picture where he's talking about all the miasmatic diseases, and you sort of have to look at each of the remedies. Anyway, the reason that I say this is because Hahnemann then starts to look at the remedies differently. They're not all on the same plane. And when you sort of look at how he shifted over time, he didn't stop using plant remedies by any stretch of the imagination. Nor did he say you only use mineral remedies for this, blah, blah, blah. But what he did do was look at what remedies had the capacity for this deeper level of cure, and which remedies acted more superficially. And some remedies sort of cross the line. But one of the things that happens when a practitioner has mastery of their craft, they will ask a question of the remedies that will be, sort of quote unquote matching the symptom picture, and they will see them and say that remedy is too acute for that, for that application. Or conversely, I'm not 100% sure that this person has the vitality available for a deep acting anti-psoriatic remedy in this moment, right? And so a good practitioner is going to evaluate everything from the symptoms the client has, but also the action of the remedy. Are these deep acting anti-miasmatic remedies? Are they more superficial? If a person has an acute come up during their care, you might be better off giving a remedy that is a more superficial remedy. Like, for example, you've got a person who has, who's got an autoimmune condition, and they've got a GI thing, and they've got this diarrhea, and you might say, oh, well, lycopodium covers the case, but so does podophyllum. Well, you're going to give them podophyllum, not lycopodium, because you want to make sure that you aren't stirring up something in that chronic case if what you are dealing with is something that perhaps shouldn't be monkeyed with in that way. So like these are, I'll give an example. We had a case in our teaching clinic. This was years and years ago, of this guy who had, oh gosh, it was still in live clinic, so I'm not going to remember what he had, but one of his presenting complaint was that he was filling up with fluid in his lungs. He had to have this extraction of the fluid. I don't want to use terminology that could be wrong about the case anyway, but when in the evaluation of his case, there was this sort of very acute sort of life or death thing. And then there was his bigger picture. And students were saying, oh, well, he's such a sulfur type. If you would have given that guy sulfur, like, who knows how far the wheels could have flown off that bus. Whereas I think it was like ranunculus bulbosa or something that had this particular targeted affinity for the problem he was having in that moment. And so there's this way in which the role of the homeopath is not just to know, like aphorism 3, know what's wrong with the client, know what needs to, like what needs to be cured in the client, what is curative in the medicines, apply according to principles, remove the obstacles. Well, that's a simple third aphorism, job description. Take yourself to aphorism 72, 73, 74, where you're looking at acute versus chronic disease, and then read chronic diseases, and you realize that an unskilled practitioner monkeying around with these really powerful medicines could actually put a person into a worse state of health.
Totally.
Forget about the fact that you've got people out there who are giving 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different combinations of remedies to be repeated all at the same time in multiple potencies. And, who knows where that's going to go. And you might not see it in a month, and you might not see it in 3 months. But, find out 6 months and 6 years and 10 years down the road if there's any long-term detrimental effect from that. There's no,
I realized I have misspoke
about.
because Hahnemann didn't say anything about experimentation. He said it is through experience. And I just had the word in my head and then I lost it again. It wasn't experiment. It was experience.
You're talking about aphorism 20?
Maybe.
Yeah, because it's in aphorism 20 when Hahnemann says that it's through here. This is the proving. We talked about this recently.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
the first part. He says it heaps of times.
Yeah, the hidden spirit-like power in the intervention of medicines to alter the human condition and thus to cure diseases is, in itself, in no way discernible with mere intellectual exertion. It is only by experience, only through its manifestation while it is impinging on the human condition, that we can distinctly perceive it.
Yeah.
But like, are you talking about like the experience of medicine? That kind of,
Yeah, well, what I was
or the
attempting
medicine of
to,
experience?
I think there's 2 words. They both begin with X or EX,
Yeah.
and one of them is not experiment. It's a different X word.
I'm glad you said that because I was kind of freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I also made an error a couple of podcasts ago. And this is the errors and errata section.
Errata.
I was trying to remember where Hahnemann says about meteoric and telluric, and I made the assumption that it was going. At first I said it was in acute chronic, and then I was like, oh no, it's in epidemics, and it's not. It's in acute chronics. It is in. Anyway, it's in the acute chronic. Where is it? 70. Of course, I say that I'm going to fix it, but I don't remember the exact number.
Now,
But
while you're looking for that, let me ask you another question, because you said something before about online learning, and you said so many advantages, so many disadvantages. What are the disadvantages?
Oh, the disadvantage is that sort of goes back to like the MOOC idea, the democratization of information, or that there's no prerequisite, or anybody can like take a course and consider themselves an expert. Or do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want somebody who hasn't gone to architecture school to design a house for me that could fall on my head. Just in the same way, I don't want someone who isn't, trained to do whatever, in medicine to be.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, because I mean, is that what's that got to do with online learning? I mean, that's
Just because it's like it makes everything sort of available,
right.
right? And so, yeah.
I mean, for me, the only disadvantage that I can conceive of when it comes to learning technologies and what we do is that there can be some pieces that are missed in the consultation, perhaps. At best, perhaps, and at worst, they're exactly the same.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about it in that way as much as sort of a more meta, like if you can study, like anybody can set up a school now, and it's really hard to know sort of who's got the, you know,
Chops.
the chops, or who's, you know, like literally teaching
Chop.
yeah.
Speaking of
This-
chops, last night watching you eat those chops.
I only could eat one.
Mm.
This is making me mad that I cannot find this. I don't like it.
If you
I'll
just
find
did
it
a
the
keyword,
minute I
just do a
get
keyword search.
I can't do a keyword search in my book. Why did I?
Where's the word telluric? Folks, anyone that can find the word telluric
I'm gonna. Oh, that's right. I'll just look
and
at my
meteoric.
index. Also, thank you to the thank you to the people who enjoy. Got the black lung pop.
Yeah.
The Zoolander reference. Yes, thank you for that. We've gotten a few people write in about that, and I love it. Al, you're gonna have to talk while I look for this. 'Cause it's gonna
Yeah.
make me insane.
Well, I'm going to take it back to love in that case.
Good.
Because it is, I think I contextualized Valentine's Day. I think if you heard my sister talk about it, you know, you'd appreciate my reference to the cynicism around the commercialization of it, the commodification of it.
I found it. Sorry. I was looking right at the right thing. It is in Aphorism 73. It's right on the page I was looking at.
Aphorism 73.
3.
You heard it here first, live and exclusive.
Yeah. This sporadic acute diseases attack several people at the same time, here and there, sporadically, occasioned by meteoric or telluric influences and malignancies.
Sunspots.
Malignancies. Only a few people possess the receptivity to become disease aroused at the same time.
Yeah.
Study your Schumann resonances, people. Anyway, thanks for putting up with that. That's going to drive me insane.
All
Go
right.
on. I think we're done. This was a rambling, meandering. I don't think I like doing a podcast from here. I don't think I like sitting back to it's a little too casual.
And you should sit forward.
I need to sit forward, but in such a comfy chair.
Mm.
Yeah, I think, you know, in terms of content.
Well, we'll never do this again.
Or we might. Anyway,
folks, you take care.
good to see you.
Yeah.
We were not actually seeing you. Good to record for you.
See you.
Got a packed schedule, but still dreaming of becoming a homeopath? AHE's part-time professional program brings real-time classes, live clinical training, and a full professional curriculum, all 100% online. It's rigorous. It's legit. And yes, it's built for people who have jobs, kids, lives, and a whole lot of ambition. Start your journey to licensure without hitting pause on your life. Visit ahe.online and take the first step.